All right. So I've gotten there and I've um finished downloading everything that I need. So if you check here, I have my fab folder and you can see I have a whole lot of things inside my fab. I have the rake, I have the lion statue, which I'm going to be needing. I have this torch. I'm also going to be needing it. I have this statue as well. I have the mega scan. And inside the mega scan, you notice I have 3D, which gives me all of the 3D assets that I'm going to be using for my cliffs and my rocks, and then ropes. And also, you notice I also have my plants. Also going to be using these plants as well. And then I have my surface, which I'm also going to use. As a matter of fact, let's start with the surface. And just to add, you notice this floor right now is just this. It doesn't really look like a proper floor. So we can select this floor. Once I select this landscape, we'll scroll here, and then we have this place where you have your landscape material. So we can choose any of the material here. So this is a material. So I'll just pick the material and I'll drag here. And then this should change. You see, you can see the flow is now of this material. So let me change this movement a little bit down so that we can really get close. You can see the flow, the way the flow is. So if you feel that this material, so you could just go and search for different materials. This is another one. So if I drag this here as well, it's going to update, and you see the way this material looks like. Okay. So I'm thinking the previous one is better for me. This feels too colorized. And yeah, this is good. So I'm done with this. So the next thing is for me to start working on my um, cliff, because now this um, guys, I'm going to be using this to do that. So let's just quickly do that by coming out to 3D, and then I have all of these different things. So I have my stairs, I have my rock. So I want to go to the cliff. So you can see we have the granite cliff. Sorry, we have the granite cliff. We also have this as well. So all these are all of the things. So if I drag this static mesh out and I zoom out, this is how the static mesh looks like. So now you notice that dragging it, I don't see anything on this back end. And the reason is because the material being used is a one-sided material. So I can only see at the back right here. But once I go to this place, I won't be seeing it. And the reason is because this is the back and that's the front. When I put my lights, this place will not really be seen. So this is how it's meant to be. All right. So this will be like a surface that I'll be working on. So if I scale this down, I can move this in place. All right. So that's basically the idea. But if you need to show the back, all you need to do is just have it selected and go to the material and just double click on the material. It's going to take you to this material set. And because this was designed in such a way that there's a base material, so if I go to the base by double clicking again, I have this option to click on two-sided. So once I click on two-sided and I apply and then save, what will happen next is by the time I go back to Unreal Engine, my workspace, and let me close this. You're going to see that at the back. Can you see? We now have this material at the back and here. All right. So, but then we have too much to be calculated here as well. And but the advantage is you can actually use both ends. So if I want to use this side, I can use that side, and if I also want to use this side, I could. So I will just go and okay, we can actually leave it for now. So let's move this into position where we want this to be. So if I start to put this here, And it's just to follow this floor. Once we are done with this, we are going to delete the blocks, all right? So we have this. So this is going to be inside our main rock. So I'll just right click, create a new folder. There's going to be the cave mesh. So I'll just put this here. So that once we are done with the boxing, and we'll now start to see the way this whole thing looks like. All right, but then we still need the box to help us get this out. So I'll first off move this out like this. I'll move this out and get all the quick designs, and for me to choose the best one to use for a very flat surface. So okay, so this was the first one I brought. So I will choose this. I will check the second one. Okay, so this is not a cliff, it's just a rock. So I'll look again, massive node coastal cliff. So let's see this. This is another cliff somewhere here. Okay, so I'll just put them out, and then I'll be using them as I need. This is ground, and I can bring the ground somewhere here. All right, so you see what I'm doing, and it's basically bringing everything that I need out, and then I'll start building off with those mesh. All right, so I'll just quickly get everything out. Okay, ground. Okay, so sun rocky ground. We put that there. All of this, by the time we start keep bashing them, you start to appreciate them more. Okay, so but just hold up a bit. It doesn't really look much now, but you will see them in just a moment. Okay, so I just quickly want to bring this out, everything that I need. Okay, so I do not need that actually. Yes. Okay, so I think this is everything I need for now, and then I can start working with this. So this gives me more of a flat surface than the previous one. You see this one that I first brought. It's too curved. So maybe I will use this where I'm curving to the side, you see, while this is more flat. So I'll just move this here and hold down Alt to drag this to this side, rotate, and I can move this into position. See that this looks better than the first one. So all I just need to do is to scale this down a little bit. There's no rule that says I can't or we can't do that. So just scale this down a little bit like so, and rotate again, maybe rotate this way. Okay, we could actually leave that. Don't worry, we'll create another one and just position here. So thinking I should scale this, not there, actually scale down. Okay, so I have that. If I move this here, so we have this right there. So it's going to really look narrow. So if I scale, I can actually also scale like this. That will reduce um, the displacement. So if you want more displacement, you can just take it. So I'll just take this down a little bit like that, and that's fine for me. So I will move this here. So I'm done with that wall. So the next thing we just need to duplicate this. All right. So I'll just hold down Alt and drag this to this side. So maybe here I will just try to rotate this. I want to flip this guy. so that this end is here while this is there. So, but basically, how I can do that is not that hard, very simple. But let me see if I move this here. I think that closes in on that. I think that's fine. Yeah, this is fine actually. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. But I wanted to explain something just now, but I'll just quickly use this to explain. So let me bring this here. Okay, so this is, you notice there is this section down there, which should not be, because that means light will pass through here, and I don't want that. Okay, so we're going to take this, duplicate that right there, just so that I can cover it. Yeah, so we've closed up that section, so we can probably maybe pick this and scale this out a little bit somewhat like that. Okay, all right, so we're working. So I'm going to still duplicate this here. So what I wanted to explain earlier was I can change this, I can flip this by just going to my detail, go to the scale. Look at the axis here. This axis X, red is X. So I'll just come to the scale X and just put in a negative value, and that will just flip. So basically that's just how you can flip that the other way. So okay, so I think okay, this covers up that. And so if you feel that you want to rotate, you can just rotate this way so that you can have this look the way you want it to look, right? So you can just do as much as things you want to do. So you can see now this is beginning to look more rocky, like we will want. Maybe I should move this in a little bit. All right, so that's good. And let's look at other. So here I'm going to take this and just duplicate this by holding down my Alt. You know how that is done. And drag this in. F will frame me into it. And let's do a bit of rotation. Okay, so at this point, there is a corner here. So we need to also show that. So no, it's not always that you have to start from the beginning. You just get the main place done. Once you have it done, you can start filling up the other section. So I could just change this again and just move this in. All right, so this looks fine to me. And we'll just continue to do this. So I'll drag this right here, rotate, and move it. Check that out till it looks nice. And move this out. Still do a bit of rotation like this, just so I can close in on that part. All right, so at this point, I'll just slant this so that it's going to be on that surface. So basically, what we're doing is just pasting this on top of that mesh till we cover up everything. So I might even need to alt drag this up to fill up that point. All right, you can see we're gradually filling up this. I could even still rotate more just so that I can cover up a lot more spaces. Okay, and that's not bad. Okay, so for this, we might need to rotate like that. We just need to make sure we cover up this any form of opening that we might have. so that we don't have any light escaping into our geometry. All right, so for this, we can close this, but not a problem. So let's quickly drag this, rotate, move this here, its position, and do a bit of a rotation as well. You might need to still rotate in here just to cover up that down part. I can even move it below the ground. All right, so it doesn't really matter. I'm thinking this space, I don't want this, you can see this opening, so I'll move this here and then move this one as well in. I can cover up. Don't worry about this overlap, we're going to get rid of it anyway, so just to get the overall shape in. All right, so let's duplicate this and move this up. All right, that one is done. And this place right here, let's quickly fix this. Okay. All right, so we are fine there. So let's see what more we can bring. So I'm thinking we could use this guy. Let's see. So let's bring this. And let's do a little bit of rotation as well. So we could paste this here just so we can have it cover up that creases like that. So by the time we're working, we have that stuff. So let's do a bit of rotation here. Okay, it's not bad. If I scale this up, I'll be having too much of a stretch. I think I'll be having too much of a stretch, so I'm just going to undo that and maybe duplicate this. Move it in like so. So I can't really get there by the way, so I'll just have all of that. Just do a bit of mixtures here and there between this, and that will finish up. So let's just quickly continue. So I'll just drag this here, Ctrl Z, let's select this, drag this one. So I want to build it up till we finish up this place here. All right, that's good. And still move this here. All right, so select this W to move, and we have that. So let's do this as well here. And then rotate this, yeah. Maybe I could actually change the rotation of this one like this instead of going that way. So it's just to create a sense of difference. Do you understand? Variation in this rock. So it's going upside down and it's not bad actually. So we can move this here. So we have the opening into the rock or the cave. And let's drag this here. All right, so what I'm basically doing is just trying to build off this. I'm going to leave these guys open so it looks like you have your rock on that section. So it's not a problem. Okay. And we have built off this right there, but you can start to see what's happening. So not a problem. Again, I'm going to rotate Control Z. I'm actually going to change this to local so that I can rotate about its local. Then I can also move. So at this point, I'll start getting that curvature you get from here. I'll start getting the curvature. So I'm going to duplicate this as well and then start getting curvature out. All right. We have this. You see that top? So they are closing in really good. All right. It's not bad. We're going to close this up, so don't worry. Just if you get, I want to get the overall curvature out, and then it will be easy for us to finish up. So I'm going to get these, and then move this here, probably. Let's move that there. Rotate this, and then move this somewhere here, just to cover up. So we need to make sure they intersect and cover really nicely. Okay, so that's right there. The next thing is we just finish up. So let's quickly do the top section. So I'm thinking I'm still going to use this actually. So let's move this. We will duplicate this as well and move this right there. And let's just change the rotation and make it go this way actually. And then we can scale this up. Scale this to flatten the top, really, because we are not really going to be seeing this edge. So I can flatten this top. Okay, so I have that. So I can move this up. So this is going to be like the cap, the top section. So let's quickly cover up the part that we need to cover. So let's look at it. So we can see if I'm looking up, this does really decent work. So you can see that covered it really fine. And don't worry about this as well. We're still going to fill up this. We just need to get this done like roughly first, and then we'll start working our way into the overall shape. So I'm going to still duplicate this right there. And this time I am going to rotate, possibly like this, just to change the design like that, just a little bit. Move this right here. So I want to reduce my movements at this point because I'm now here. I want to be able to see the top and I don't want to really move too fast. So that's not bad. Okay, so I'm going to rotate this a little bit and then move this to make sure I close in on that. Okay, so Alt and drag to have one more. So I'm beginning to get to the point where I want to see what's happening here from this point. All right, so you can see. So we can move this as well, do a bit of a rotation. So you can see that we're not closing in on that, so we need to quickly get that out. Okay, so this is good. Let's do this and move this as well. Okay, so fine. And I'm still going to duplicate this, maybe somewhere here. Move this out. Do so much rotation, a little bit more rotation, and just position this. So what I am doing is just to get that covering, okay? And I think I'll have one more duplicate here before I get to this part. So I will rotate this into position and then move this here like that. Okay, so we're good. So let's quickly play at this point and see what we have. So if I play through, sorry, let me change my resolution before playing. So let's play. You can see where I am. So this was the last point where I played. And let's walk away. So this is the cave. You can start to see how the cave looks. It looks really. So imagine we are looking at this from the top, from the front. So you see how it looks like a proper cave. So imagine I get rid of all of the um, whiteboard and I'm seeing the way the cave looks. It looks really dark. So we start building and working our way into this place, this big old space, and then we can continue finishing. So I'm going to quickly build up this and then come back because of time. I've gone ahead to do a few things. I think at this point I'm going to just quickly show you what I have. I can delete this because I don't need them anymore. All these things that I haven't seen, I just delete them. And maybe I will leave these guys because I might still make use of them. So if you look at what I've done, this is basically what I have. So I also added a few assets to the floor. These are different assets that I just added so that it doesn't look just too plain like that. All right. So you have that and you see the opening. And then I also added one more opening somewhere here. So let me just delete these guys so that I'll be rest assured that I have all the things. I actually do not need this blocking anymore. So what I can just do is just select this, right click, and I can select all dependents. That's the children, then I can delete. I don't need this anymore. Let's play through so you see what I have. So I'm going to take this to high. You can already see how it's looking. And if I play, and you can see I have this. Let me go into the cave. You can start to see how the cave is beginning to look. So I'm seeing some stuff. So I purposely left this place open and this place just so that I can light this. Because when I was practicing, I noticed that it was too dark from here. So this will just add a bit of more light into this place and it will just guide me. And you can already see that this really looks like a cave, all right? But even though it looks like a very narrow cave, but then still not bad. All right. So the next thing I want to do now is to create that platform here, which is this place that will hold the tree and maybe whatever I want. So I want to have like a mini pond somewhere here. So I'm going to quickly change this back to low so that it helps me work really fast. So how am I going to do that? Already look at how to sculpt, right? So I want to sculpt this place so that I can have that section where I'm going to have the water around here. So I'll change back to landscape and I'm going to reduce the brush size like so. So I'm going to be painting around the edges here so that I can have this. So what I'll just do is just come here and if you remember how to put in, we use shift. Alright, so I'm just going to still bring this brush a little bit down. Okay, so if I hold down shift, I can push this inside the geometry. And I will still have to go back. Don't worry, I'll move this thing back and push it back up. So I have that. Either I do that or I can push this guy up. So I think pushing up will be nice. So I will just increase this brush a little bit and push this place up. So we have that platform and I feel it's too high. So what we can do is we can come to the brush strength. So you see this brush size, you also have the strength. So I'm going to bring the strength really down so that moving this up will not be that much. So we'll still undo that, still bring this down. Just bring this surface. And don't forget, I also have my flattening tool to flatten that surface right there. I'm thinking it's too much, so I'm going to undo that. Or I can just use my erase tool to flatten this back. All right, so I'm going to just do a little bit of, I think I have to change to high so that I will see where I'm painting because this is where the light is. So I'm going to change this. Or maybe I will just, let me redirect the lights. Alt and tap my L, and then I can redirect the lights wherever I want this to be. So I need to, all right, I think this is fine, this place right there. So I can just double on top my sculpt over this place. And now this place looks high. And then I can flatten this as well. So we just have that place raised up. So if I take this back to low, and we'll have that section done for us. So that's basically it for that. So while we're doing this, because we're going to be adding a few more things. So also you notice what we have, I can also change my lit mode. If I go to unlit, okay, so that doesn't really, so I want to see the geometry more. So if I go to wireframe, okay, so you can see the wireframe is helping me to see the way I'm pushing this. Okay, all right. So it just helps so I can see the movement. So what I want to do now is I want to add a little bit of gig around it. So I will reduce this sculpt and I'll use my shift to push this geometry just around that part. add more, just a little bit. I'm just clicking and dabbing over that section. I'll do the same here. So just what I'm doing is just brushing, holding down shift to brush around that part so that I'll have that section going really back down. So you can already see what is happening here. See that? So you have that little section. And why I'm doing this is because I'm going to be having this. So I also want to have like this go here a little bit so that I can walk a little bit on top of the water before I get there. Just small. And I think that's fine. And then I can change this back to width. And we might need to come here and start moving this down a little bit. So let's change this back to selection, select this, and move this back down. And because we have painted it, so then it's possible they push out. All right, so that's good. So the next thing is for me to now add water here. So there is a tool in Unreal Engine that allows you to add that water. So, but that tool, you need to make sure you have it enabled first. So you go to your edits, you go to plugin, just search for water, and you will see these two water and water extra. You want to enable them. So once you click it and you enable, you will be asked to restart. It's very important. So you'll be asked to restart. For every plugin you enable, you have to restart it. So just go ahead and restart and then come and join me. So once you have restarted and you have this, all you just need to do is to come to your create here and you will go to thinking visual effects or all classes something. So basically I really do not put that in my head where those things are, but basically you can also search. I think it's under all, I'm not really sure, so you can just type water and you can see it here. But this kind of, for me, is just stressful. So that's why I actually switched to this Unreal Engine classic layout. I can just, while I'm here, I can search for anything here, and then it will give me whatever it is that I'm searching for. So I go to all, the same way I could just say water, and then it will give me this water. So we have different types of water bodies. So you see island, we see lake, ocean, river, and so on and so forth. So I'll bring in lake. I'll just drag this right here. As soon as I let go, the shader will try to quickly update for me to see the way the water material is. So just wait for it to update, and once it's done updating, you will see the water material. So it's updating right now. All right, so while that is updating, you can see if I just move here, you see the size of the lake. It's such a large size, but we can resize that by just clicking on this handle. So you can see this is the lake and that was. So we can select this handle and reposition them to resize that lake. So you don't need to work with too much or too larger lake stuff. So I'll just move this here, just position that. And also, so all you just basically need to do is click on those points, these control points, and you can use that to position where you want that to be. So I have no more here. So I'm going to zoom in to that lake object, which is this. I'll select it, and I can, so I can move this a little bit up like that. So I want to make sure I have this such a way that I'll be able to see that my geometry. So let's just move this maybe somewhere here. select the second point, move here, then this last point, just move this, maybe somewhere there. Since we doubled up onto this place, I want to have that small pond right there. But now if I take this up, you see what will happen. Let me just select this. So I can select this icon to select the whole mesh, and I can move the whole mesh up or down. All right. At any point in time, if I want to work on any of these points, just select the points, and then I'll work on that point. All right. So I'll just pick this and move this down. Don't forget, we already have this point that we have modeled. So I'm feeling that this is lost here. Okay, so I'm still going to move it down till you see my mesh. All right, so this is good. So at this point, we don't see water, and then we'll gradually start to see water there. All right, so again, don't forget to see that these guys are actually floating. So it's letting me, beginning to see that these guys are floating. You can see that. So we might need to start moving them down till they don't float. So that's where I made the mistake. I would have just added this first before adding the water. All right. Sorry, I would have added the water first before adding this rock object. All right. So it just but not a problem. We just it's just one of those things. One of those things. All right. I think this should come down as well. And this should come down. So I have to start pushing this down to interact with the mesh. All right. So that's the thing to always making all of this before doing some still. So all of these steps is very key, is very important. Just make sure the steps are correct. Okay, so let me see here. This is fine. So this is at this point that it starts pushing down. So we might need to even while we move this, rotate this a little bit like that and change this. And also rotate like this. I think I'm done with this section. It's just this part. You can see the way it floats down. So you can see all of this. So you have to also make sure you get this correctly. Position, rotate. All right, so I'm afraid you have to go through this process, except you are not concerned with making it look as perfect as it should be. So, but if you are concerned with that, you really want this to be that perfect, you have to, that's just the thing you have to do. You have to make sure you get it correctly positioned, right? So I'll do that here, select this and move this down again. And I'll just have to do it for this section. All of these ones here. See, they look perfect. So I could just do multiple by holding down shifts instead of doing them one by one. So I'll just move them all down so that I can get the rough this thing first before we start to refine. So here, I think from this, I think it's fine actually. That's also fine. Actually, they're fine. So I'll just move this one down. And again, don't forget this is now floating, so I will also move this down. Okay, so we have to make sure nothing is floating right here. Okay, so this is good. The only thing left is this is that platform that we need. So let's change this back to high. And where is it? You can see the way the water looks. I'm thinking this is the platform. Not really sure right now. Well, I mean, if this is not giving you, you can always quickly download a few models and position them here, and it will give you a good effect as you want. So that's basically it here. And the next thing I'm going to do is to quickly start populating this more and add more things. There's a lot of things you are going to be adding. So once I'm done adding all of those things, I will come back and show you the final. So this is basically how you can create your um what's it called. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add all of those things, put the lights where they should be. Before I go, let's quickly see how that will be done. So you can just come to your lights objects. I can bring in my point lights somewhere here. You see that it begins to add that interest into it. So instead of it looking so dark, so we are beginning to get a guide into the cave. So instead of that place just looking too dull or too dark, so we are beginning to see this guide. So what I will do with this my light is just bring the intensity down. It is too much, maybe 3. Really, we're trying to simulate cave, so it shouldn't be too lit. So maybe 2 is fine. I could also colorize it. The reddish color or blue, I think. Want to have a feel of this cold effect. So I think I'll go with this blue color. And I think one light is good for me because this will just help me by giving me a guide. All right. So if I play through and you see I have that, there's a guide for me, and then I can quickly go into this section and you have that. Even though I don't know why it's working on the water, it be very funny. But you can see all of this, and I have my lights right there, have another one right there. And if you look down, you see all this floor, the sand there, looking really. Oh, there's an opening here. Oh, wow. So you see all of that. So we can also find our way out. And if I choose to do a night scene, it's still the same thing. So let me just press escape, Control L, and bring this to like night. So everywhere is so dark. And you can start to appreciate the lights. You see now, because of the light, I can have a guide that follows me through to that place. All right. So that's the purpose of the lights. So I'm going to do for a day and also night so you can see how everything will look like. All right, in the end. So that's basically it. So let me just take this back.